Cruise Control, where we navigate the roadways of life, business, and everything in between. Hey guys, it's Kevin Davis from the Cruise Control Podcast, brought to you by Detailer's Roadmap. I am here with a super good friend of mine, Adam Pitale. Before we get started, I wanted to remind you, go to detailersroadmap.com. Click that little get a demo, schedule a demo button there at the top right. We do SEO and kick-ass websites. So, hey, if you need one of those, or if you just need to reach out and have some information about your own website, let us know, detailersroadmap.com. Adam and I have known each other, I was thinking about this earlier, since before I started Detailer's Helper. So, like, this was when I was actually detailing full-time. I was a dealer for Adams. We came to the shop. We did some stuff. It's funny because right before we got started, I got a Detailer's Domain email from Phil Yu. I remember Phil was at that training that I did way back when, and you had given my daughters one of your Schwinn's, which we still have here at the house, which is super cool. Still keep that. But let me give you, if you don't know who Adam Pitale is, let me tell you real quick. Adam's the founder and chief detailer at Adams Polishes, one of the largest detailing brands on the market. Adam is one of those guys that is a pinnacle figure in detailing, both on the consumer side and the professional detailing side. So I'm super excited to have you come on board. And, we've been doing this visionary series. I've got some other high-end business guys. So I was thinking today, hey, Adam falls into that visionaries thing. So I'm going to put you in this series as well. So it'll be now a 5-part series. We'll put you in there because I consider you one of those guys and a great friend of mine. I love how we stayed in touch all these years and everything. But thanks so much. I know you've had an awesome day, you said already. So hopefully this will continue that trend.
Yeah, a good start for sure. A very good start.
Nice. And so, hey, I always ask on the podcast, give us your superhero backstory, because we all have this backstory, and you can fill us in as much as you want. I know a lot of us kind of know some of that story, but, just let us know kind of where you set the stage for us, like how you got to where you are right now. And then I want to talk about what's coming, because I know you've got some super excited stuff coming, and we can share as much as we want with the audience as well.
Well, I've been able to tell my story, multiple times now, and people say, oh my gosh, you must just work so hard and everything just fell into place for you. Wow, isn't that great? I'm gonna put God first, because I think that what happened in my life is, when I was really young, my parents split up, and a series of things happened. And I think, without really saying, hey, this was God's plan for me, or this was something that I sought what's the right thing to do, what's the right answer. And I feel like as part of that, God had his hand in all of the things that got me to this point in that beautiful and very kind introduction that you gave. But I do believe that there were certain things that happened that without God's blessing, that wouldn't have happened. Okay, so me being here today is a, let's give glory to God first, because I think that that it's without his provision, I wouldn't be here. So, so everything I'll tell you is some great things kind of happened in detailing. One, I started when I was a really little kid, and I started cleaning bicycles. And bicycle cleaning started because my mom and her first boyfriend, after my parents split up, was a cyclist. She got her job, she was a stay-at-home mom until my parents split up. She had to go to work. She gets a job at Allergan Pharmaceuticals in Irvine, California. And she's a receptionist. She starts dating one of the doctors. And this doctor is a cyclist. And after he did a 100-mile, a century, which is a 100-mile bike ride, he left his bike at our house. Now, on that ride, his bike got incredibly dirty because it rained. It rained the whole ride. So he's got this beautiful Italian bike. I think it was an Eddie Merckx. And anyway, beautiful, beautiful bike. He left his dirty bike there. I'm like, man, I love bikes. I'm a bicycle collector. As you know, you got one of the Schwinn's that I collected. He left his bike there, and I went ahead while it was there and just cleaned it thoroughly. Polished the wheels. I have metal polish because I like polishing my old Schwinn's and stuff. And I polished his bike completely. I took the chain off. I gasoline scrubbed it. and re-oiled it, put it back on the bike, polished all the nastiness from this rainy bike ride he was on. He had laid the bike down, and the handlebar tape got all torn up. So I went ahead and retaped his handlebars. The leather straps over the toe clips, they used to use leather to toe straps. I replaced those because after they turned to rocks. Once leather gets wet, it was just nasty. So, and I did all this stuff, and when he came back, he saw his bike. I polished, I waxed the bike, turtle wax. He comes back, he sees his bike, and his mind is blown. He's like, I can't believe this. This kid why did he do this? And one, I wanted to see my mom stop crying, and be happy. And this guy's like, right now he's like the knight in shining armor,
Yeah.
His name's Mike Garst is his name. Anyway, he goes back, and again, let's give some glory to God. He goes back to work, and he lets his 150-person cycling club at Allergan Pharmaceuticals know that this kid knows how to detail a bike like nobody's business, like totally. Like, I had to redo one of his brake cables that also snapped off in his crash. So I redid his brake cables. So all of a sudden, my mom, she had a clapped out old Volvo station wagon. She's bringing home 1, 2, 3 bikes a day. And at nighttime, I'm cleaning these bikes up. And I'm going to the bike shop, South County Cyclery. Now it's called Buy My Bikes in San Juan Capistrano. The guy still runs it. His name is Jim Kerwood. Another total God thing, So this guy, Jim Kerwood at the bike shop, I'm riding my bike down to his shop like every day. And I'm like, hey, okay, I need blue handlebar tape. I need a new brake cable. I need toe straps. I need a new chain. Okay, great. And he starts saying, hey, listen, I need this bike, and this bike. I need these assembled. So he had me, instead of me buying this stuff, he would give me this stuff, and he just had me assemble 1 or 2 or 3 new Fuji bikes. That's what he sold. He sold Fujis. So he said, if you can just assemble those bikes, you can have that stuff. So every day I'd go in there with a list of stuff that I needed, and he'd just say, hey, do those 2 bikes. We're good. So, and I'm like, perfect, So it was, profitable that he couldn't pay me because I was a little kid, but let me have some stuff, and he would let me assemble the bikes. And I learned a lot. He taught me, hey, that's not how you adjust a derailleur. You adjust it like this, and hey, that chain is, you don't have it going through the chain rings right. It's got to go, oh, cool. So, of course, I'm using this information and this education that I'm learning from Jim at the bike shop every night on these bikes that I've got at the house. So that little bicycle repair and cleaning business was pretty neat, pretty sturdy. It was a pretty regular deal. At that point, I had a paper route too, so I threw papers, and I realized something, and I realized that customer first. What people don't ask for, yet they do need, I would just do it. Customers did not know that their brake cables were getting frayed and nasty, and that they were kind of pulling slow through the housing. They were just kind of slow brakes or something like that. And I'd be like, well, I'm gonna replace that, And of course, customers like that. And when I first learned that was when people would come out looking for their newspaper in the morning, right? And the other guys that I would throw papers, there's 2 routes in this one apartment complex, and I had one of them. These guys would throw the papers from their back, from their their bag, and it would get close to the front door, but not really at the front door. In fact, a lot of times it'd end up in the bushes. And I'd be throwing papers, and I'd watch sometimes when the paper would hit the front porch. They'd hear it, and they'd go out there looking for their paper. And then you see people kind of in their bathrobe. They'd be looking, like trying to find their paper, and they didn't really want to walk outside because they're in their bathrobe, right? So I started going to these people's houses, and I'd open up their screen door. I'd set the paper and lean it against their front door, so that when they open their door, the paper just falls inside of their house. And this is the Orange County Register, okay? The Orange County Register charged $4.75 a month. So when I go to collect, you do your collections every month, you go get the money. A lot of times people would, initially, they give me $5, tip me a quarter. Here you go, man. Here's, keep the change, big spender. This is 1980, right? So $5 was $20 today, probably, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, interesting. Okay. Well, the more people that I did that for, the more people that I've set that that paper, so it just fall inside their house. They were so appreciative of that. And I started getting $2, $3, $5, and sometimes people would give me a $10 bill for my $4.75 collection. And I just thought, wow, this is pretty cool. I mean, I'm doing okay. But that focus on what the customer wanted at the paper route kind of took me forward to detailing the bicycles, making sure that the bicycles were dialed in really well. If I noticed that the seat was adjusted all wrong, that the nose was sitting up like this,
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be uncomfortable. Flatten it out, and of course the customer's happier. So I just kind of had that focus, that customer first focus. Get them what they need, even if they don't know what they need. Give it to them anyway, and that helped that business grow quickly. And 20, 30 bikes a month, and then people would be repeat customers. They'd be like, "Hey, my bike's ready again," And back then, all of the brakes. This is before disc brakes. All the brakes close on the wheel, on your
Yeah.
wheel, and you get enough brake shoe buildup on the wheel. Your brakes can start to squeak. They'll start to howl. So you got to polish that off. Most of these bikes are all aluminum, aluminum wheel bikes, and there's a buildup, and that buildup
And hard rubber brake pads, right, and all that. Yeah.
Old school stuff. But these guys rode a lot. These guys were serious riders. They did a 100-mile bike ride at least once a month, and they were cycling daily. So these bikes were getting beat up. These were successful. These were doctors. A lot of doctors
Mm-hmm.
at the at Allergan Pharmaceuticals. A lot of people designing drugs. So anyway, it just became a neat business, and it kept growing, and it was a neat business. And I love bicycles, so it was kind of an easy one. And
Did you make any money?
Yeah, I think I did okay. Yeah, I always had the best bike. And my parents weren't. My dad and my mom, they weren't in a position to buy me a sweet bike. They were.
Yeah.
They were. I was hard times. My dad went from one household that had to pay for two households. Yeah. So it was definitely it was good. And then on the weekends, I'd always help my dad wash his car. And then I became the guy that washed the whole car. The next door neighbor came over, and this older gentleman is the nicest guy, bald guy, super tan, and he'd come over. He'd watch me and say, "Hey, that's great." One day he came home and he brought home a brand new Toyota long bed 2-wheel drive pickup truck. Right? It's like 1980, 81. So yellow with the brown SR5 stripes.
Yeah, the SR5. Right? I was about to say, yep.
All the way down the side. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is so it's a beautiful truck, right?" And he comes over, and he just likes to see me doing stuff. He'd go out in the garage and see me cleaning up on the bikes, and I tell him, I'm doing. And sometimes I'm like half cleaning the bikes, half, you had to rubber band your newspapers, right? You take 2 or 3 sections, the main section, the sports section, and then all the classifieds and whatever else. And you have to put them all together, fold it in half, and put a rubber band around them. And on wet days, you got to put them in a bag. So we'd sit there while I did that, and he was just interested in watching this kid do this stuff. So he gets his truck and he goes, "Hey, Adam, would you be interested in washing my truck?" And I was like, so much. I'd be so interested, right? So I'll never forget. I "You guys want to sit in it?" Yes, I want to sit in that truck. And I'll never forget the smell of that brand new Toyota, that brown vinyl just smelled so good. And that thing was such a, beautiful, beautiful truck. So I washed his truck. And his wife had a Toyota Cressida, like right when the Cressidas came out, And so after I did his truck, he's like, "You want to do my wife's car?" "Sure." He's like, "How's $5 sounds?" "Sounds fabulous. Let's do it." So. And it just kept growing. It really kept growing. And that next door neighbor, and the next door neighbor to him, it's like, "Hey, I'd be into having you do that." So then I created this little tiny business card and started going around to other neighbors and be like, "Hey, I'd love to wash your car." Armor All, of course, is the tires, and because I don't think there was anything else but Armor All at that point to make the tires black. And just kept going and going and going. And then, hey, I could wax a car. Just like I wax a bike. Why not wax the car? So started doing washing and waxing. And my dad would come out still and help me dry the roof because it's high. I was a little kid. And he'd help me dry the roof. He's like, "Son, just make sure you always keep my car clean, all right? Don't forget. I'm like, "Oh, Dad, done. We'll do that." So and then my my parents got, of course, my parents got divorced. Now it's mom's house and dad's house. So then I had two neighborhoods to draw customers from. So then, okay, go into the other neighborhoods and pulling those neighborhoods, those neighbors in and start washing their cars. It was just it was a really good little business. And it kept growing, and it grew through, fifth grade, sixth grade, seventh grade. And by the time I was in ninth grade, I realized that I could only do so many cars in my immediate area. And this guy kept driving around town in this little Volkswagen Bug. His name is John Hodge. And John had a bright red Volkswagen Bug, and he'd stop over. And I was always washing cars in my driveway. And he'd be like, hey, what's up, man? I see you washing cars all the time. What's going on? I just what I do. I got this little car wash business, and I clean detail some bikes too overnight. I can do that at nighttime. It didn't need to be in the day. I could do that after it got dark in the garage. And he's like, will you help me wash my Bug? I want to do stuff. Great. So I end up, John's a couple years older than me. I end up hiring John, and because now we can do mobile.
Yeah.
And so we throw the vacuum in the back seat of the Bug, and we open the frunk, in the front of the Bug there, and put the towels in the bucket full of some stuff, and we'd be able to go do mobile detailing, mobile washing and waxing and all that. And that mobile business was cool because then now we can get customers from any neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
This is Dana Point, San Juan Capistrano, San Clemente. That was kind of the area where I grew up and where we were doing detailing. Well, I turned 16. I start driving now, and I'm like, you know what? I'm spending a lot of time driving, and too much time driving, not enough time detailing. So I started looking for a way to try to get it to be one location, more detailing, less driving. So I started noticing, the 80s there was a lot of limousines. Limousines were the jam in the 80s, And the limousine companies that were in town weren't right in my backyard. They were more in like Irvine, Lake Forest, Mission Viejo, but they were close enough. And so I'm in the yellow pages, and I'm looking up these limousine companies. Like, hey, let's find some more limousine companies. So I go to these limousines. I go to limousine companies. I drive over there, and I'm 16, right? And the very first one I go to is Lake Forest Limousines. And so Randy Tooker is the guy's name. He's still in the business. He does like classic car limousines now. So
cool.
Yeah, he's a super cool guy. Just like 1930s Bentley limousines, and he has repowered with like a modern Ford 4.6 injected V8 with a 5-speed automatic, so they work.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
And cold air conditioning is important in a limousine.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, these black limousines looked, there's two speeds for any black car, perfect and horrible. Black's good for 15 minutes. So he needed these cars washed, just daily, if not at least every other day. And then the white ones, so there's blacks and there's white. There's only two colors for limousines. The white ones, the tops were looking really grungy. The tops, if you don't scrub them well, and I was using Simple Green, and I could scrub the top with Simple Green and make it look perfect.
That was like that composite, right? They're like, they're sort of like a vinyl vinyl kind of deal. Yeah.
Yep. Vinyl tops. They're soft, kind of a soft, but they hold a lot of dirt if you didn't scrub them out.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got that. We got those limits. So I said, listen, I go up there and the guy's like, listen, kid, I really appreciate this. I can appreciate that you want the business. I can appreciate you're a hardworking kid. Obviously I see that you're getting after it. You're going for it. And he's like, but I just, I got a lot tied up in these limousines. I can't afford to just have kind of some hack, getting after it. And I said, I know that you're going to like my work, and I would love to do one limousine for you for free. Would you be willing to let me do one limousine for free? Give me the worst one. And he gave me the worst one. Someone had thrown up in the club.
Oh,
it was so gross. And people throw up in limousines all the time. that was like, this is, when you think about 80s, cocaine, lots of booze, bad decisions, all happening in the back of a limo, right? Well, this limo that he let me do, I went in there and shampooed the snot out of the carpets, just get it all wet, and then, vacuum it out with a wet dry vac and do it 2 or 3 times, like Simple Green was my chemical of choice. I just used Simple Green like crazy to get and also Simple Green would also, the smell of it would also hide the smell of vomit. Anyway, and then I cleaned the snot out of it. I polished it and I waxed it. And he was stoked. He's like, wow, all right, that's a little better than I thought it'd come out. Okay, what are you going to charge me? Oh, came up with some number, and he agreed to it. And he became my first customer. And me and my buddy John Hodge, we'd go out there and we'd just knock out these limos. We'd knock them out every day after school, and then knock them out on Saturdays and knock them out on Sundays. And that was we just go, go, go. And then we got it down to where we could do it really quick. And we changed the processes out to do them quicker. So combining steps, the order of, like, we'd figure out that we'd hose the whole car down, then start cleaning it. And then you got to do the wheels. Well, while you're doing the wheels, the water's drying on the car and causing water spots. Well, this is a problem, So we started realizing that doing the wheels first before you touch anything else, pull the mats out, do the mats first so they get the max amount of time to dry. So you don't put damp mats that just been shampooed back in a car. Windows are up, the car gets mildewy or nasty smelling. So we started figuring out some stuff on changing timing of what gets done in what order. And we got that job. We were getting them done in an hour and a half. It was taking us 3 to 4 hours to start. And it got them down to way less just by doing smarter, aligning the process so that we would be less redundant and we could be more efficient and not have to go, oh, great, now how are we going to get the water spots off that we just caused by, doing.
Because you were hand polishing, right? You guys were, all hand polishing. There's no, you're not running a machine at that point.
No, not at all. I had no clue on a machine. The DA polishers, I don't think that DA polishing was even it wasn't.
It was all, in that time, is all rotary, right? Everything.
Yeah, rotary buffers was it. Yeah. It was, people started using the 7424 Porter cable as a polisher probably 5 years later, probably 90, mid 90s, because then people just take a sander, put a polishing bonnet on it, and boom, there's a polisher, and that was like a huge upgrade. So these guys, these limousines, we started figuring out we could do more than the limousines we were doing. So I went to another guy, and we ended up with I went after 5 limousine companies because there were only 5, and we did. And every time, no one took me seriously, and then I'd say, hey, because it's not like you have your phone, you pull out a phone and say, here's the before and after photos,
right?
There was none of that. It wasn't that easy. So we ended up doing a limousine for free, doing one for free. Let me show you my work. Let me just prove to you that you're going to be impressed with this effort. I'm going to work my butt off, and you're going to like it. People, and they also appreciated that. I think that work ethic. Let me put my work out there, and if you don't think it's there, then don't hire me. It's going to cost you nothing. So I got all these limousine companies, and that was just a killer way to do it. The other thing, when you're doing really nice cars, really nice high-end cars, people are coming out and they're looking over it. The guy with his one car or the lady with her one car, she's, hey, I think you missed a little bit of my mirror, and I don't know, I don't remember this scratch. This scratch wasn't there before. You're like, oh my God, yeah, you're right, because I have an orange pole with me, right? This orange pole clearly ran into. Where's my orange pole? I'm looking around, right? No, that was definitely not something that I did. But you get that. But with the limousine companies, it was a commercial deal, and people needed their cars cleaned to make money. They wouldn't make money if they didn't have their limousines cleaned. So I like the commercial business because it was so consistent. It didn't matter. It was going to rain. Doesn't matter. If it rains in the forecast, this car's going out tonight. That rain's not until tomorrow. People need their cars, so there's no cancellations. It was all the time. Yes, show up, bring your guy, and let's do this. And at that point, I got another guy working for me named Gabe Hill, and Gabe is just such an awesome guy. He's still a friend of mine today, and he's a Porsche guy too. Funny enough. Anyway, so Gabe and I started detailing together, and we had John too, and so we were doing more and more cars, and then pretty quick, I realized that I needed guys to be working while I was in school, because all those morning hours of me being not at school was a lot of potential money left on the table. And I wasn't able to get all the cars done. We needed it. We needed that time. So I went over to the Saddleback Community College, which is in Mission Viejo, and I put up on there. They had these big round things, and you could post notices like, wanted, tutoring, or people would put their notices for help wanted, stuff like that. So I would go over there and I'd put up the thing. Wanted car detailers. I'll train you. No experience necessary. Come on over and let's do this. So I ended up hiring a couple of kids that were going to the community college, and these two kids this one kid had a Volkswagen bus, this old brown bus, and it was oxidized. And this guy was like, "Will you teach me how to detail my bus?" And I'm like, "Well, you're gonna, because you're not pulling up in that messy looking thing. I go, that thing looks horrible. You rub your fingers across it, pull brown out."
Oh yeah, just white and brown, right? Yep.
Yeah, no. So hired him and another kid that I hired from there. So I had those guys out there working all day in the morning while I was in school, and then I'd go, meet up with them and go do some other ones. But they'd be, that was when I got my first cell phone. This was when, the Motorola
yeah,
through-on antenna.
Yep.
So I was the only kid at school, including the teachers, that had a cell phone. Because they'd call me and be like, "Adam, we're out of Simple Green," or, "Oh my gosh, our towels, we got no more towels. We're okay, no problem, I'll be there." So then I just, my lunch hour, pretty much after lunch, I rarely went back to high school. So the fact that I have a diploma from a high school is a miracle, because it was just such a total. It was, the fact that I didn't take it very seriously. I took the detailing business more seriously.
Yeah.
So anyway, it just kind of kept going in that direction, and that was just total blessing that it went that way. And the business grew, and all the way through high school, I had a pretty neat business and had some, I had cool cars, that I bought, and that was cool. And I would detail my teachers' cars, and I had this one teacher, Dr. Chambers, and this guy was this guy, first of all, he's kind of a stoner, and then kind of a drunk too. But he ran the auto shop, and he ran home ec, and he did math. He taught these 3 classes, so I would always take his 3 classes after lunch. And so I didn't show up to school after lunch, but he would always mark me. I'd get good grades. And I would go detail his cars, and he'd drive his wife's car once a week and his car once a week, and I'd clean his car in the high school parking lot. And I would be able to buy from Costco. It was crazy because Costco used to be called Price Club, and when it was Price Club, I'd go in and I'd buy 6 or 8 gallons of Simple Green, a bundle of towels, whatever cleaning supplies I could buy, and then I'd buy a big, huge one of those jumbo jugs of tequila and a jumbo jug of white Zinfandel, because he liked to drink tequila and his wife loved white Zinfandel. And at the time I was done, and they never ID me, because it's Costco or Price Club back then. It was just like, it was all businesses. This is before it was like a consumer store. It was like a business store. My dad got me a membership card through his membership. So, and I would leave a jug of white Zin and a jug of Jose Cuervo in his car, cleaned up, and he would always give me passing grades. And I didn't show up to school after lunch. So I don't know if that was God's grace or what it was, but maybe it's just the fact that I got the right guy with the right habits.
That's right.
But he had the right habits, man. He sure did. Anyway, so so I had this business going, and then after, so I'm getting ready to graduate from college, and had a girlfriend who basically she was great. She was the homecoming queen. She was the star pitcher on the softball team, and I like to name everyone, but I won't name her because it was probably, she doesn't want to be known as this. But anyway, she was like, "Adam, I don't see myself with a car detailer after school. You're not really college bound." And I'm like, "What do you mean? I think what are you talking about? What do you mean I'm not college material?" Huh. Anyway, so she checked out, and I was heartbroken, and I was like, huh. Remember, my mom at this point had just finished her doctorate. Okay, so
okay.
she has her PhD in she's an audiologist, and my dad has his PhD in education. So my parents are both, now at this point, now they're successful, and now they're doing well for themselves, many years later. And my dad just was like, "Well, son, college might not be a bad idea. And I'll tell you what, if you decide to go to college, I'll pay for your tuition." And I'm like, "Wow, really?" Because that was I was thinking, college wasn't in my plan.
This episode is brought to you by Detailer's Roadmap. Hey, spoiler alert, that's us. We all know you need a kick-ass website in order to be successful with your business. The good news is, at Detailer's Roadmap, kick-ass websites, that's kind of what we do. With the latest performance, designs, and SEO strategies, Detailer's Roadmap is your one-stop shop to be successful on the web. And don't forget, we have the best support team in the industry. Whether you're an existing partner looking to improve your lead generation or you need a brand new website, Detailer's Roadmap is here to help you be successful on the web. So go to detailersroadmap.com/success and get started today. That's detailersroadmap.com/SUCCESS. Yeah.
So, okay, let's try it. So I went to community college, Saddleback College. Did the summer after I graduated high school. Did summer. You do 2 quarters. There's 2 quarters each summer, and then did the spring semester, fall semester, and then 2 quarters. So I got 2 years of college done inside about 1 calendar year, and then applied to USC and got accepted and went to USC and had I had a good time in college. They tell me. It was a blast. But then I detailed the whole time, always detailing cars through that. And then one of my college roommate and my fraternity brother, his dad is a builder, and he builds little tiny houses for people like Sylvester Stallone and Gina Davis. So all of a sudden, through this connection of my college roommate, I'm detailing for Sylvester Stallone, detailing his cars. I'm at his place twice a week, and he was married to this gal named Jennifer Flavin, and they just started having babies. He was a grown up, but they were having babies. But through those connections, God's grace, right? Just through that connections, boom, 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 just more and more amazing cars. Because my Southern Orange County business was kind of not going to work out while I was up in LA.
Yeah.
So boom, built a pretty nice little business and kept detailing all the way through college, and it was a really, really. I graduated with debt because my dad's company went bankrupt halfway through college.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So I got a little debt, but I still was at least paying all my expenses and everything else with the detailing. Got out, realized that there was a lot to learn about real estate and how that could be a really interesting business. And I go to college. I should wear a tie, and I should do that. I should do something that's using this degree maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to get a job with a real estate company and try to sell real estate, commercial real estate. You're on the phone in a bullpen, Mr. Jones.
Yeah.
Would you like to sell your apartment building in Torrance? And this is there's a recession. It's 1996, right? Do you know how much my building's worth? Do you know how much I paid for it? I'm upside down in that building. Can you give me what I got, what I own in it? If I get one more call from a broker like you, where do you live? I'm gonna come find you. I am so sick of brokers calling me. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am so sorry. I hit a chord here, and I am so sorry. So I'm like, boy, and you got to pick up the phone and call another one, and I'm like, I don't think I like this.
Yeah.
I don't think this is for me. I don't think I'm cut out to be a cold caller in a real estate office in a tie. In a room with fluorescent lights and no windows that open. No thanks. I'd take detailing. So I'm detailing all the guys' cars in the office, of course. All the agents detailing all their cars. I'm still doing Sly's cars up in LA, and a couple other guys. So anyway, I come to realize that I rather like detailing, and that I rather prefer it to anything with a tie and stuff like that. I just would rather do that. So if you don't mind, I'm going back into it. So I go to this guy, and there's these products that I started using. And I started using these products because they were available at the Porsche and Volkswagen dealership in San Juan Capistrano. It was called Bill Yates Porsche Volkswagen. And they were selling this stuff called Der Shiny stuff. Der, like the.
Yeah.
Do you remember Der stuff? Do you ever hear about that stuff?
I've heard the name. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is little company. And basically this guy is selling this stuff that is a German product through the Porsche dealership, but it's made at Granitize, Santa Fe Springs, California. Right? So, but it's German as far as you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? far as you know, it's a German product. Anyway, so I like this stuff. It was a good product. You know, it's definitely more premium than any of the store bought stuff. You know, than any of the Mothers or Maguires or any of the stuff that you could buy Turtle Wax off the shelf. So I was like, you know, I bet I could sell this stuff. So I went over and talked to Dave. Dave's the guy that ran that little business. He's such a neat guy. I known him since I was a kid. Since I was using this stuff on bikes eventually, you know. And my dad had bought a Porsche when I was like 12 or 13. He bought a 928. Oh no, a 924. The worst Porsche ever made, right? The worst. And it was in the shop all the time. So I went to the shop all the time and got to go see what's going on in the lounge, you know. And
see, that's fortuitous that your dad didn't buy an actual good Porsche, right?
If you bought a 911, I would have never been there. Air cooled 911 are the best things in the world. I've got a handful of them. I love them. Anyway, so yeah, he bought a car that needed all kinds of service. So I went out to the swap meet in Costa Mesa, California, and just started a little stand at the Orange County swap meet and selling their stuff. And I got a chance to look across the table to people and answer questions about their detailing needs and their washing. And the questions were so consistent, right? I mean, again, God put me in a great place there because you got real-time feedback every day from a customer. And the questions that were asked were so common. How do I get rid of water spots? How do I get rid of the blue jean stains on my tan leather? How do I get the inside of my windshield clean? How do I get the film off of it? How do I do these things? You know, and bottom line, these questions were so consistent that I started putting together detail kits. And people you go buy a bottle of wax off the wall of confusion at your auto parts store. Well, what do you put it on with? How do you take it off? Right? How do you wax your car? How do you take it off? Well, how do you wipe it down? So I started putting together these detail kits, and then I started putting together this little instruction sheet. And on one side, step-by-step instructions, AP detailing. AP was my detailing name. AP meaning, Adam Pitale, my name, but I always called it always perfect detailing. So that was our DBA, right? AP detailing. So I did these instructions. How to clean your interior, how to wash your car, do your wheels and tires first. Don't put water on your car until you've done the wheels and tires. And then I started buying some different random supplies from like SM Arnold, a wash pad, chamois. I buy their water sprites, sell the water sprites in the kit. So you gotta wash it and a way to dry it. The soap, so now you've got the soap, the wash pad, the drying tool. Great. Now wheels and tires. What do you use? Well, I use Simple Green. Simple Green. Talk about God bringing something in my life. Jeff Hyder, who was the main guy who runs Simple Green, he came to the swap meet. He saw that I was suggesting Simple Green, right? And we couldn't sell it because I couldn't buy it, but yeah, I would sometimes then buy little bottles. And he saw that, and he goes, "You're promoting Simple Green." I said, "Yes, sir. I love it. I've been using it since I was a kid." He goes, "I'm going to send you a pallet of Simple Green." I'm like, "A pallet of Simple Green?" He's like, "Yep. I want you to put it in every kit you sell." I'm like, "Really?" "Yep." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." He sent me a pallet of Simple Green, these 10-ounce tall, skinny bottles, fit right inside my detail kit perfectly. They didn't take up much space, and we became friends. We're still friends today. He's an awesome guy. He recently retired from Simple Green, but he's still now on the board. But we don't have anything to do with Simple Green. I love Jeff, and he's just an amazing guy. And he just came in and said, "Hey, I see you trying hard, kid. I'm gonna get behind you." So the only problem with a step-by-step instruction sheet is that you can't say wipe with your hand flat. You can't say. I mean, you can say it, but it's just hard to show. So right about then is when cameras were developed with a media that was something we could create our own little video. Video camera. So and you record on a 3.5-inch floppy disk. Do you remember that? The camera that had 3.5 inches that flops into it. So along with a guy that I met who became a great employee and a longtime friend, Mike Wilson, Mike and I did our first video, and we were the first one to ever do a detailing video. And that video is still, I think it's on our YouTube page. If you want to look.
I have a copy of that DVD out in my shop next to all the, like, I've got In and Out, I've got Total Interior out there. I've got so many Adams products still left over from whenever I had become a dealer. So I bought all this, and I still use that stuff, and I sell products, so, different brand of my own, and I still use it. But yeah, I have that DVD. I actually saw it the other day. It's like, it's probably like with my steamer or something, but I was like, holy crap, how long have I had this thing? So,
well, those DVDs help a lot of people. People that wouldn't otherwise know what to do. We said, listen, here's how to keep your hand flat when you're wiping, and you need a way better outcome. Here's how to clean your wheels and tires first. Here's how to use the brush. And people just started to get really good results. And then they'd go home and they'd buy something and they'd go home and use it. And it was like, wow, that worked. Okay, now I need something that does this.
Yep.
And I give them a solution. And every Saturday, every Sunday, I'm setting up at the swap meet. And then another just total God thing. This guy walks up to me. And it's like 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd been selling at swap meet for probably a month. This guy walks up to me, and this guy's got his hat on backwards, right? Like this. He's got a cigar at the, big fat cigar. He's at the end of the cigar, right? It's 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. This guy, and he's also at the end of like a 30-ounce beer. They used to sell these huge beers, right? This guy, and he's got Oakley Iridium blades on, the gold. Yep. So I can't see his eyes. The guy walks out to me. He's got a great big belly. He's probably 60, and he goes, who's the detailer here? I got problems. I'm like, I'm the detailer. Love to help you. I got these red trucks, and they're turning pink. I can't even afford to put tires on them. I'm spending all my money on repainting them. They're getting faded. They're going to heck. And I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm half like not believing this guy, or is he just drunk? Early, but it's a bit early to be that drunk, right?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not totally wasted, So I'm like, well, I'd love to help you. Where are these trucks? He's like, well, they're all over, but I'm in LA. Can you come see my trucks? I need you to come help me out. And I'm like, I'd love to. And I said, do you have a card? He goes, nope. Do you? I go, yeah, I have a card. He flips it over. Ron Vogt. My name's Ron. All right, Ron. Here's my address, blah, 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 South Central Avenue, Los Angeles, California, 90037. And my zip code at USC was 90027. And I'm like, okay, that's close to downtown LA. That's probably in the hood.
Yeah, South Central.
South Central. Yeah, exactly. Well, so he's like, come see me on Monday. I'm like, you got it. I'll be there. So I drive up there on Monday. And I go to that address, and it's the Coca-Cola corporate headquarters. And I'm like, red trucks.
Red trucks. They're everywhere. Yep.
Yeah, right? I'm like, that's a trip. So I walk into this place, and I'm at the fleet division. This is where they do all the maintenance on the trucks. And Coca-Cola corporate owns 4 square blocks of downtown LA. They've got their bottling plant. They have their manufacturing facility where they blend the liquids. They have the plant where I am at, and then they have the storage plant where they load all the trucks up, okay, in their warehouse. I walk up to this guy, and I'm like, hey, I'm looking for Ron Vogt. This guy's got a white shirt on, all crisp, long gray hair. He goes, that's me. I go, wow, you clean up good, Ron. Check you out. Wow. You were looking kind of rough yesterday morning, but whatever. So he's like, oh yeah, you're the detailer. Get in. So he gets me in the little metal, like Cushman little utility carts. We go driving around, and sure enough, all the trucks are pink. They're just all faded and oxidized, and they have the little white Astro vans and Aerostar vans, and those are the ones that do like the liquor stores where they can't pull a full truck in. And you go rub your fingers across there, and white. They're all oxidized. Come to find out, they're washing these things with degreaser and just prematurely oxidizing them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and the trucks, these are all tractor trailers, right? They have the fifth wheel, and all of the fifth wheel grease splatters up on the back of the cab, and they just, instead of using just a little bit of degreaser to get that off, they're just washing the whole thing in degreaser. And there's a truck wash company that's doing it, and they're just hammering these trucks.
Just pouring acid on it all day long.
Wrecking them. Just wrecking these trucks, right? And I'm like, wow, that's rough. So, but I'm like, let's figure this out. And so I went out there, and I had a couple little bottles of my dirt stuff, and I'm like, let's go figure this out. So I went into a little corner of one of the red trucks that turned pink, and I made a little bit of an improvement, but not enough. And he looked at me, he goes, "You'll figure it out. Let's go." Boom. Next one. He shows me all these trucks. And I said, "Well, Ron, tell me how many trucks you have." And he goes, 3,400.
3,400.
And I go, "Well, there's a number, 3,400. Holy mackerel. Like, really? 3,400 trucks? That's a pretty serious number." So I'm like, "Well, listen, I'd love to earn the business. Let's figure this out." He's like, "All right, let's do it." So I put together a proposal. One of the girls that I was in real estate class with when I went and learned real estate, her name was Carrie Schultz, and she's super, super bright. I asked her for help to put together this proposal because she was sharp. She helped me do the proposal. We got the account, and man, we started detailing these trucks. And every night was a lab. Every night was figuring out what it took because we didn't know. I had no idea. And another guy gave me a hand who was a detailer. His name is Jason Mentis. His detailing company is called Ballistic Detailing. This guy's got like big, heavy gauge earrings, nose. He pierced everything, big, crazy hair. He always had like super flashy vans, ballistic, all the way across.
Yeah.
And I go, "Jason, how the heck do I detail a big rig?" He's like, "Oh, here you go. Do this, do this, do this. You got a trailer?" I'm like, "No. You need a pressure washer with a trailer, and you need clean water." "Okay. Here, use mine. Let me use this trailer for the first week." And that was long enough for me to order the other stuff, get it in, build my trailer. And we started detailing these trucks, and we got there at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We had to be done by 4 in the morning because they load them up at 4 and out they go at like 5 to 6. So we were initially, it was taking us to, like all night to do one truck. And then eventually we got it from like 9 man hours a truck, 3 dudes, 3 hours we consistently got that number down. And then we started timing it better and started changing the process, doing things, combining a polish and a cutter and a compound together on the same pad, and buffing these, the fiberglass, so it's gel coat, buffing that out with one pass versus 2 passes. All the rubber trim around the windows, it was all nasty. We had to clean it. Well, we cleaned it after we were done, polishing and clean it up, and then you had to clean that all up again. It took an extra 20, 30 minutes. We kept changing the program and then kept changing chemicals and combining people's chemicals. And that was pretty much when I met Tunch at 3D.
Oh, and yeah.
Tunch is just
such a good guy. Such an awesome guy. I love Tunch.
100%. He is 100% awesome. So I was using Warner Chemical. I was using Mock. I was using Granitize. There's another company that I used. They went out of business. I forget. Not Mark V, but somebody, Mark IV. So there was two Mark somethings, and one of them died. Anyway, I was just combining all these guys' products, trying to save time, and it came down to a deal where we really were at a lab every night, a lab, and I was just figuring out faster, better outcome. Polishing those aluminum tanks took a lot. We had to figure that out.
Oh yeah,
the aluminum wheels, that took a lot. Getting around the lug nuts took a lot. All those things, just a lot of learning curve. And every night, but you do it so much that you just start to figure stuff out, and it's like trying to think of the guy's name. 10,000 hours. You get 10,000 hours. It's Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I can't remember what that. Yeah, it takes 10,000 hours to perfect something or whatever. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
To become an expert, you do 10,000. So I got my 10,000 hours in. Doing 10 hours a night on these coke trucks. And I'll tell you what, it was total education, just learning how to do it better, faster. And we were able to get that thing turned around to where we had a very successful little business. See you, buddy. That's CJ, this guy that owns the cigar lounge that I'm sitting in right now.
Nice.
Saying see ya. Anyway, so it just kept growing in that little business. We went to one Coca-Cola hub until all the trucks were done, and then we had to do all the little Astro vans and Aerostar vans, and then all the VPs. So Coca-Cola had like 1 million VPs. Their VPs were basically sales guys that drove around and went and sold to the stores.
Mm-hmm.
they drove high-end cars, very high-end, like Dodge Intrepids, Chevy Luminas, and Ford Tauruses. So
Salesman cars.
salesman cars. Yep. And they were hammered. They would hammer. These guys were always promoting. That's the big business. They're all promoting. These guys would get promoted, then that car had to go to another guy. So every time I got promoted, we had to turn that car around. So we had to do the detailing on the cars too. And then we started selling Coke car wash soap. Like, hey, quit using degreaser. And the guys that were doing the washing for Coke was a company called Great White Detailing, or Great White Truck Wash. Great White was the name of the company. So we would set them up with soap, because we were buying a lot of chemicals. We were able to get them soap so that they could not destroy what we just fixed.
Yeah.
And the detailing business kept going. The weekends at the swap meet kept going. And then I started bottling some of the stuff that we were mixing up and selling it next to their stuff on the table. So we never named it. So I just called it Adams, because, it was easy. Call it Adams. And that was 2000. And then we started making more stuff. And then we started, even the Der Stuff stuff was okay, but I was like, we could do some better stuff than that stuff. So then I would discontinue one bottle of Der Stuff at a time, and got down to where I had like one bottle of Der Stuff left. And it was no longer time to, I tried to buy Der Stuff. My dad was like, hey, you're doing great. Let's go buy Der Stuff. And I'm like, okay. So I went and offered to buy the company, and they said, oh no, we're doing great. So they said no. And then that's when I really started making sure that there was more stuff with the Adams label on it. And our labels were Avery labels. We'd print them on an inkjet printer, cut them out by hand, and slap them on the bottles. That was how we did it initially. So it was not too not too pro, pretty, any amount of water, and you had no idea what you're doing. The water label would fall off. So anyway, that's kind of how things got started. Started doing a lot of car shows. A lot of the started going to the car shows too. I had this guy Mike Wilson and his daughter Ashley Wilson. They started working the swap meet.
Ashley was my rep.
Yes,
I remember. She was so awesome.
She's amazing, and she started from when she was 15 years old. She was so amazing, and she's doing great too. Still, we're still friends.
Oh, good.
And she went to work for Phil Yu for a long time after.
Oh, really? Oh, that's awesome.
She grew out of us. She literally, sometimes we're like, listen, you're no longer cutting the mustard for us. She was like, Adam, I'm looking for bigger things than you. God bless you, Ashley. She's awesome. Her dad's awesome. They're just amazing. But they were running the swap meet so that I could go do car shows. So I started doing car shows, and then another God thing. We ended up going out to Carlisle, Pennsylvania for a car show, a Corvette show.
Yeah, I was about to say that's the National Corvette Show, right? That all the owners come in.
Oh my gosh, major. So at that Corvette show, I went with West Coast Corvettes. West Coast Corvettes became a business partner of mine for a little while, because they were selling a ton of our stuff through their store in Anaheim, California. Well, I went out there to that show and set up a little tent at the end of their big rig and just sat there and did demos, and boy, did we knock it out of the park. The Corvette guy's like the perfect car care product customer, because they do it themselves,
Yeah.
The Ferrari guy's like, hey, come here, do my car, kid, but
and if the Corvette guys, if you've got something that cleans white New Balances, you've got it made.
Dude, I taught more than one how to clean the marks off of the white New Balances. So true. I'm wearing New Balances right now.
Nice. Yeah, they're not all white though.
They're not all white. No. I do have a Corvette, but 62, so I don't know if it counts.
Yeah, 62 doesn't count. No, 100%.
Doesn't count. Anyway, so that got us into the Corvette family and that whole thing. And then the Corvette, the guys at the Corvette, West Coast Corvettes, we were partners until the Depression or the Great Recession of 2007. And they were like, we need out of this. We need out. So ended up buying them out. And then very next year, I'm cleaning all the cars at the Corvette show in Carlisle, and all these cars show up at the same time, and they're all these brand new cars with manufacturer plates on them, and I'm like, wow, this is cool. And I clean them, and I'm helping them clean them, but I'm like, I'm just cleaning them. These guys are all kind of busy, I could tell. I'm like, I'll just clean them. I was always helping people clean their cars. Like, if I was setting up a booth, there's nothing to do. I just go to the wash bay. There's always people there that need help. And people totally, when they see the product work, there's nothing more proofs in the pudding when they watch a product work. You know, when they watch a towel dry car and you're like, that is cool. Yep,
Yep.
you're going to sell one, right? You're going to sell that wheel cleaner if you watch that wheel cleaner clean your wheels. So I clean all these cars. There's about 7 of them. Turns out that's the entire team from Corvette. Taj Junker, who's just going to be retiring now. Kirk Binion, the chief designer who still designed the C4, C5, C6, C7, and he had something to do with C8. So, I mean, talk about like just a total. These are all just the core brass at Corvette. Well, that day turned out to be, you know, again, God's grace, because of course those guys are all like, oh, Adams for sure, Adams. So not long after that, we become the officially licensed car care product of the Corvette, and then later the licensed car care product of General Motors, which we are still today. You know, we're in every Chevrolet, Cadillac, and GMC store, and that was just a huge win. You know, like
what a great account.
That's all on me on my knees down there cleaning brake dust off these nasty wheels these guys driving these cars in from Bowling Green, Kentucky. So that, again, a total. I can sit there and say, "Oh, I just worked hard and I just earned that business." Like, that was the greater being than me making that all come together. So that really made for an interesting deal. The next thing that really was big is the internet. You know, when the internet came, the internet showed up, and all of a sudden, e-commerce became something. And learning how to do that, and then we moved the business to Colorado. And moving the business to Colorado was huge because California is not chemical friendly, right?
Not business friendly, technically, right?
No, not business friendly. And the CARB, California Air Resource Board, would go into a store that was selling our stuff, and they'd be like, "You can't sell this anymore. You can't sell that. You can't sell that." So we're losing a new product every month. And I'm like, "Oh, this is not good. I need it. I got to figure something out here."
Yeah.
So Colorado, we could at least ship stuff to coast, and it'd be 3 days to the East Coast, 2 days to the West Coast. So, okay, that made it a lot easier for us to ship, and then of course chemically it was way better too.
Yeah.
And then we found B&B Blending, which is a great company. They started making all of our stuff. They were great, and then they started cutting me off. They'd be like, "Hey, $80,000 is all we're going to give you as a credit line." I'm like, "Well, I'm selling $250,000 a month worth of stuff, and $80,000 is not. I got to pay my tab down
that. Like
every couple
for me,
weeks."
you know, I've been following all this stuff, and I'm like,
I don't have that.
What's Adam's kind of? What's his?
I need a bigger thing.
Is he like figurehead CEO guy, or is he? You know, you're still washing cars.
And
Every time I see you,
Derek Johnson, who was a huge part of watching cars. So, you know, he came in.
Fast forward another few years, we ended up taking an opportunity. So my goal was to make sure that I got married, had kids. My kids are now 15, 13, and 10. But towards 2018, 2019, the business has grown quite a bit, and it became much more of a human resource reality than it was, you know, detailing and enthusiasm for cars and stuff like that. And the web business just became this monster, and Amazon became a monster. And those things just really, they blessed us. It was a huge blessing. But then I was gone more.
Yeah.
You know, more events, more shows. I was doing trainings for all the different major owners of dealerships across the country, like Rick Hendrick, you know, Hendrick Motorsports, you know, the racing, all the dealerships. He's got over 100 dealerships. Those guys bought in big time on our deal because we're, you know, licensed GM accessory. And they're like, "I need your training. Can you please come train us?" You know, and I'm like, "I'd love to." And I'd go out there and I'd train one dealership, and then go to another week and train another dealership. So then I started realizing that I'm missing a lot of my kids' games. I'm missing a lot of the practices. I'm missing school plays. I'm just missing a lot of stuff. As I realized that I'm missing these things, I'm realizing that I'm going to be one of those guys that talks about how he missed his kids growing up. And I was in my late 40s, and I'm like, you know what? By 50, I need to be in a different situation. So what I did is I made it a point to say, okay, by 50, I'm going to be taking a way reduced role because I'm gonna miss these kids from growing up. I'm there. So through my partner Derek, we ended up growing that business up a lot. We really 10x'd it from let's see, we 7 times the business from 16 to 19.
Wow.
It was a huge growth. And we just started measuring everything, measuring the output of each employee, measuring what sort of what was the win from each little marketing angle, what were the KPIs, the key performance indicators for every role, how could we improve those? And we started putting our numbers on the board. What's this month's goal? What's that break down to per week? If we don't hit that week, what are we going to do to change it? And boy, we really grew the business a lot. And
I'm sure it was 7 times more revenue and 7 times easier, right? Is that how
Yeah. So much easier, Kevin. So much easier. Right. Yeah, it wasn't easier. It was
I'm joking, but that's like a lot. We're talking to a lot of smaller business owners, right, on this podcast, and they have these goals. Like, if I was just a 7-figure shop, if I could just do 6-figure, if I could do, whatever that is.
Yeah.
And it just gets harder. Like, the numbers get bigger, the stress gets bigger, it gets harder, right?
You're absolutely right. And like what you did with products, when I talk to people about, I'll finish what we ended up doing. We ended up taking on a new majority owner of the company in 2020. And that's a huge company based in Montreal, Canada. They're a huge chemical manufacturer. They did mostly windshield wiper fluid, and they did antifreeze. Okay, and I think that their main customer is Shell Oil. So they're the co-packer for all that stuff. So it was a big business. And then through that, we had chemical manufacturing facilities in Singapore, in China, in Europe, in Australia, and 2 other places that I'm forgetting right now. But oh well. So anyway, but now we can make stuff in every country instead of having to just make it here, and
ship it, right?
And ship it, which shipping's a bummer. Shipping containers, chemicals hate shipping. Chemicals do not ship well.
And they're freaking heavy. A 16-ounce bottle weighs 1.5 pounds almost.
Yeah. You obviously are a person who pays for some shipping, because that's when you're like, that's heavy. Yes. That's expensive.
Yeah.
A lot of dough.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, doing that was a good thing for us. Plus, it gave me the freedom to, okay, I'm going to now be a spokesperson for the company. I'm going to still do the videos. Me and Joe Triguero, who's amazing. He's the main face of our company these days now in the videos. Mm-hmm. And of course, the guy who did all the marketing to make all this stuff happen, the guy who took us online and did all this, his name is Matt Butcher. And Matt, you met Matt at our place.
Yep.
I mean, Matt was a major, he's just the right person at the right time to come.
And he was super young at that time, right? Like he was in early 20s.
Oh, he was. Yeah, he started shipping. He started in the shipping lanes with me when he was 17.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's young, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. He's 30 something now. But anyway, bottom line, it was a blessing. Each of those people. So now it brings me to a spot where I go to the big events, and I go to the photo shoots. We do video shoots and photo shoots, but I spend a whole lot of time with my kids, it's that's what matters, and, and so I do spend way more time with my kids now, and I just got for the last four years that since we took on that new majority owner, I've been able to do a lot less travel, so I'm home way more, and that was exciting. But back to the idea of bigger business being better, and your detail shop, part of what you did with, you can detail all you want, but you really want to try to make some money while you're sleeping. Mm-hmm. And that's really important to do that. Having it set up so that you can be a person who is paid selling something versus only paid for your actual manual labor. And you can also be paid for your employees' labor. That's a good one too. But what's missing in the detailing industry that you could provide, So these detailers that come in, when anybody that complains to the detailer, oh, I can't get business, I'm not being able to do it, you can try harder and you can do it.
Yeah.
Trust me, detailing is the flakiest industry in the world. There are more flakes in the detailing business than any other business. So if your customer, Your customer is probably just burned yesterday by another detailer, and they're ready for a new one. You can go get new detailing business all day, every day, because guaranteed your competition is soft. They didn't do a great job last time. Very few detailers are truly excellent. When you get to be an excellent detailer, your customers aren't going anywhere. You show up ahead of time. Communicate communicate super well. Hi, Mr. Jones. Just wanted to confirm our appointment for tomorrow at 10 o'clock. I look forward to seeing you. All punctuation. No, hey, I'll see you tomorrow. Joe. No punctuation.
See you with the letter C and the U, right? Yeah.
Dude, so, oh my gosh.
Get on our old guy soapbox for a second, I guess.
Well, when people do that, and then they're surprised that, my business is so hard, it's hard to get customers. Not really. It's easy.
Well, now there's apps, and like they have, Urable and RoadFS, and like they have all of these applications now that automate. Yeah. That's all automated, and then you can do, more personal follow-up after.
Use that stuff. Be professional. When you go up to someone's house, if you're doing mobile detailing, is your car dirty? Do you show up to a customer's house with a dirty truck or a dirty van or a dirty whatever? You're not going to be invited back.
Yeah.
When you're set up on someone's driveway or your bottles laying down on the ground all around the car. No, you should hang them up. Hang all those bottles on the bucket. Like, make sure that you're so clean. Are you wearing a uniform?
Or I have this tool belt idea that you can also use, right?
Dude, use the helper, dude. Use the belt. Don't be cruising around looking shabby, right? Yeah, use the helper. But you have your shirt. And I would say put your name on your shirt. People's like that's established. You're established. You're legitimate. And you just have that ability to be first class, because guaranteed the competition is probably not first class.
Yeah. And what was funny, I had this marketing professor in college that used to say, you don't need to be this much. You don't need to be this much better. And if you're just listening to this, I've got like a foot up.
Yeah.
You only need to be this much better. I mean, obviously we want excellence, right? But you only have to be like this much better, which is not that much better than your competition, in order to outshine them and to take their customers, basically.
That's right. You can outshine your competition so easy in the detailing field. But another thing that I always like to talk to detailers that are, if you're a starting off detailer or you've been in business for a while, what's missing in the detailing world? Like when you started detailer's helper, how long did you do that?
How long had I done detailing?
Yeah, before you started that.
It wasn't that long, honestly.
You recognized the missing.
I remember I was doing a black 69 GTO. I had left polish at the back bumper, and I had just put my feet underneath the door to do the door, because no lift or anything like that. And I was like, and I had been doing DIY like construction and all this stuff, so I always had tool belts on. So I'm like, why is my crap back there? And that's how that came to be. I sewed the first one. Actually, the first belt, all the products I used except for one bottle of McGuire's 105 was around Adams sized bottles. So, and pads and all that stuff. But yeah, it was just a matter of like, why doesn't this exist? What would it look like if it did exist? And then how can I make it? So
that's the kind of thing I think that is really, that's the key. Look at what's missing in the marketplace and give it, provide that product, figure out a prototype, go find someone who's in the business of making that kind of stuff. And just, it's so much easier now. When I first started, there was Yellow Pages, there wasn't an internet to go Google it, find manufacturers. You can find manufacturers of anything now, people that can do prototypes, computer. There's just so many ways to do things now that are great. So you provide a product. The next thing I always tell for detailers is, first of all, you are your own marketing team, just in how you show up, how you communicate. Mm-hmm. Are you professional? Are you setting up in a totally professional manner? Are you charging too much or too little? If you're undercharging, people don't take you seriously. If you're overcharging, you better show up with a massive job and doing amazing work and blow minds. You kind of want to be Goldilocks' porridge, right? You want to be just right. You want to be just in the middle, to where you're charging the right amount for the service, and you're blowing minds, and you're doing the right thing for the right money, because that's customers want you back over and over again. There's other things in detailing that you constantly can create that other detailers will buy. There's also things that, as a detailer, you start making a little bit of money remember that your house can pay you. Like, because I struggle sometimes with detailers saying, "Oh, I'm just not making enough money." It's like, okay, what else? Is your house paying you? Because how we ended up getting ahead for sure, we would buy the worst, crappiest house, and we would live in it while we were turning it around. Because I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have dough to go buy a spanking house. We'd buy a rough house, and we would turn that house around, and we'd live in it for a year or 2 years while we turned it around, sell it, buy the next one, take the winnings, boom. The payment stays the same, take the winnings, buy a little bit nicer house. Boom, go do it again. Because one of the things about detailing, you're selling your time. You only have so much time in a day, so many hours in a day. And, if you're going to start a product, you have selling that product 24 hours a day. That product's going to sell online somewhere 24 hours a day, Get it on your own website, get it on Facebook through the stores and Facebook. Those are huge, by the way.
Oh yeah.
We do a lot with that. Instagram, sell on Instagram. You can sell these things with a little video and a story and why your product's awesome. But if not, make sure at least your house is paying you, because that's building wealth. That's not requiring you to be manually laboring every day to make your house work for you. You buy a house that has needs. I always say buy the worst house in the best neighborhood. That you can afford. Boom, up, 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 up. Without me buying houses that were horrible and living through some pretty rough construction and doing it and taking that fat and living on it, Adams Polishers would not have been anywhere near what it was, because I took a lot of the winnings and pumped them back into the polishing business, because it's hard, when you're detailing, you're selling products. So always have a plan B of doing one more thing. The other deal is, if you don't have money for a house, cars. Buy a little car that you see. Always be looking for cars. I love Facebook Marketplace. I see on Auto Trader and eBay people that are selling cars that are just so poorly detailed. The best thing in the world: find a desirable car that the guy did a horrible job taking photos of and did zero effort on the detail.
Yep.
Sweet. Go in there, you see it's on there. Boom, it doesn't sell for some number that's totally unrealistic. You go in there and talk to the guy. Hey, I'd be willing to give you, let's say a guy wants 10 grand for the car, and you go in there and say, hey, I'll give you 7 grand for it. And, it doesn't sell long enough. They'll take the money, the guy or the girl. And then you take the cars, turn them around, detail them, make them nice, get some you always see like a nice car and some little cheap out and put like a Han Coupe tires on there, a Walmart battery. Like, dude, come on, like, step it up. Come on, don't do that. So you do put the right tires and wheels, or pull the window tint off if it's too black of a window tint. Put the right wheels on there. Send the wheel. Having wheels refinished is inexpensive. So you can detail out a car, make it look great, and then take great photos. If you got a modern phone, you can take great photos. Get them, on grass. I always park my cars on grass. Park them, do that. But you can also have a side business where you're constantly buying a car, and your first car is maybe $500, a cheap car, and turn it around, make it nice, and then flip it. But having your detailing business also puts you in a great spot to get a sort of a flow of cars that are for sale. People, hey, I need to detail this car. I'm getting ready to sell it. How much you want for it? Ask the question.
Yeah.
Oh, the dealer offered me $10,000 for it, but I think I can get 15. Go. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll detail it for free and give you 11,000. Oh.
And then go sell it for 15 or 16.
Because once it looks great and the photos are great, you can do that. Once you become but buying and selling cars while you're detailing is one way to get to buying and selling houses while you're detailing. But I making money is one thing, and building wealth is something different. And I always try to tell the kids that we teach detailing schools. That we have the Shine Academy, so we have a school for detailing that we teach at our Scottsdale, Arizona store, our Anaheim store, and our Denver headquarters. Now, I always try at the end of the class, I'll come in and talk to the kids and go, guys, just remember this: building wealth is something that takes more than just selling your time on an hourly basis. Get up a little bit, buy and sell a car here and there. Then if you can buy a house that's rough, boy, that's a really nice win, because now you can add value to something that can really turn around and pay you a very handsome payday.
Yeah.
And the combination of detailing, which is your daily bread, like that puts food in your fridge, that's great. And then the actual wealth that you build through, either buying and selling cars, or buying and selling houses, buying and selling anything, whatever. If you're in a rural place and you see some tractors that Farmer Ted's got a oxidized old John Deere sitting out there, you're like, dude, people spend millions of dollars on pieces of farm equipment. You're in the right neighborhood, go buy that wretched looking tractor, or tell Farmer Ted you'd love to sell it for him, and just say, would you mind if I detailed your tractor and tried to sell it for you? I know you're trying to get $30,000 for it. Would you take $30,000 for it? Can I have a month? And then you detail the snot out of it, take great photos of it. You get it marketed in a few different places. Try to sell it for 40 grand. Boom, you take 37, and now you got to win. But thinking outside the box and detailing, because detailing is just so many different avenues of turning a detailing business into something that can create value beyond just the money that you make detailing that one call.
Yeah, because you can only sell your time for so long, right? Like that's the thing. And like even back, I'm sure you've heard of the BRRRR method, BRRR, right? That's real estate: buy, renovate, refinance, repeat, basically is what it is. If you're detailing, you come in contact with realtors all the time. Like first of all, if you're not targeting realtors as your detailing business, you definitely should be. But like, there's so many different ways to do it. I would look, so like Dodge Neons, and there are certain cars that the timing belts broke all the time. And when the timing belt breaks, it basically just destroys the head because the valves get out of line and it just bends it all. I would get those for free, put a new head off of eBay for $250 and pay like $4,000, get $4,000 for them.
Dude.
Yeah. Detail them and put a new head on it, which putting a new head on it was a pain in the ass. But for me, it's like 4 or 5 hours. But then I'd make $4,000 out of that car, and I got it for free.
Well, the first one was the pain in the butt. Second one, exactly what to do.
Yeah.
And it's just people are like, oh, that was so hard. It's like, yeah, but you just got all the learning out of the way.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Those cars this bolt, you have to jack the motor up. This bolt, you have to bring it back down. This bolt, it's back and forth. So, but once you figure out, I could do that in a couple hours now, probably replace a head on one of those things. So
see, that's it. So that's thinking outside the box, and obviously you've been a guy who's been super successful, and it was because you thought outside the box. And I think that you're going to find a lot of people that are in the detailing business. And sometimes you and I hear, obviously I've talked to a ton of people who end up discouraged, right? Oh, this is hard. Getting customers is hard. Keeping customers is hard. It's like, well, look at your communications on your texts and your calls. Look at how you communicate with your customer before, during, and after the detail, the follow-up calls that you do or don't do. Those are all things that are going to set you apart and make you a person that they're always going to call for their needs. They're always going to be like, I got a guy. I am officially not looking for a detailer, And because being successful in this business, there's multiple ways to do it. There really are. There's so many different ways to make it a successful thing. But I always try to encourage people to know that there's so many ways to skin a cat, right? There's so many ways with detailing. There's a lot of value that you're adding to, cars, trucks, tractors, you name it. There's just a lot of value that you can add, and a lot of opportunities, and you just keep your eyes open on those and think outside the box. And because there's so many people that are losing their detailers today because they didn't show up, because they didn't communicate well, because they didn't do a great job. They were sloppy when they were at your house, or they were late when they showed up. People that are late, detailers, I swear, time management is like one of the biggest faux pas for all detailers. It takes 10 times longer. The other thing I'd say about detailing that I love? I love the express detail. $300, $500 tops. The express detail that you don't do a full paint correction, full crazy, every square inch flawless. You do an express detail. 90% of America is very happy with an express detail, and 90% of America doesn't want to pay $2,000 for a detail. And you can do 5 of those details a day versus one total flawless paint correction where you had to spend 5 hours more than you thought you were because the damage was more severe than you would ever imagine, or the clear coat was harder. You had to hit it 3 more passes.
Or you just think it needs to be more perfect than the customer even wants it to be.
That's right. That's right. I mean, they just like, listen, they would have been plenty happy with paying $500 and having a car that was 87% to 92% perfect.
Yep.
Take that money. That's good money right there. The express detail. I'll tell you, that's a really good chunk of business that most detailers like. Oh, I only want to do Lamborghinis, and I only want to do those to a flawless level. It's like, that's nice, but the Lamborghini guy is usually not your coolest guy to talk to.
Yeah.
And not the easy customer. B, and C, how often is that guy going to want his stuff perfected?
Yeah. Well, and I think it's hilarious and very telling that the two things that you were so successful with, fleet detailing, and now we're talking about basically production detailing or express detailing.
Yep.
Those are the ones that are so looked down upon in our egocentric industry, right? It's like, well, if you did that, and there's a guy in Maryland, Rob Schufer, who they do like $10 million a year on dealership and fleet detailing.
Yeah.
It's like, so let's go make fun of him for doing dealership work and, all of that. And so it's like, dude, just look for opportunities, get your ego out of it, and figure out a way to make the most money from your particular market.
Dude, 100%. I agree. That high-end detailing, if you only want to do ultimately high-end detailing, there's a market for it.
Oh, yeah.
It's a thin market. It's not as fat as the people that need their Yukon detailed, or their F-250 or whatever. Those people want that. They're using those vehicles up regularly. They're going to buy them. They're going to beat them up. 3 years later, they're going to sell them. They're going to buy something else. It's not like their baby, their Lamborghini Gallardo that they're trying to, keep flawless. But again, at the end of the day, it's how much you were able to do per hour, not how much you can do per car.
Yeah.
How much money are you making per day, not per car? Because that per day, doing express detailing all day long, you're gonna make a lot of people happy, and the expectations on an express detail, are realistic. A lot of times when you do a full paint correction, you don't. That's so crazy that you want every square centimeter of a car flawless for a customer that's going to go drive to the car wash next week.
Yeah, and you may make like 50, and you're making $45, $50 an hour versus maybe $200 an hour for doing some of the other ones, right? Like I'm all hourly rate. Like when everything is ROI for me. I'm like, well, if I do this, what is that going to cost me per hour if I could do this that I make, more per hour or whatever. And even for the weird stuff that we do. So
I think that's genius. That's right. I mean, spot on. I think that's not to be, and again, it's an ego thing, oh, I look down on doing a production detail. Well, I like it. We're opening a car wash right now. We're opening a car wash here in town in Eagle, Idaho, where we live. And, we're doing an express detailing only, all hand wash, no machines. And, our $500 and less are our details. And we're going to, and they're 2.5 hours max is what we'll sign up for. Nothing more than that. And that's such a huge chunk of the population need that.
Yep.
Wash it, clay it, one step polish it. If you need a little more compound, add a little bit of compound on it. Like for us, it's our blue pad, it's kind of the medium foam pad.
Yep.
Little compound, little polish. Boom. One step, the whole thing. Ceramic spray coat it. You just did a full detail in ceramic coating for $500, and it took you how long? 1 hour and 51 minutes.
Yeah.
What? Yes. Because the ceramic coatings, a lot of the values are out of this world too. It used to be people were like charging $2,000 minimum for a coating. It's like, why? That's crazy because it won't take that. It doesn't take that long. The perfection on the flawless paint. Okay, that's going to take a long time. But again, what's the customer need? Are you listening to the customer? Are they going to enter this car into a show this weekend where they're very much aiming to get best of show? No, 99.999% are not doing that. Therefore, the flawlessness of 0 swirls in the entire car, you got to charge a lot. The customer does not want to pay a lot. So where's the win?
Yep.
You know?
Well, hey, I mean, you're in the right business with car washes, because that's the thing. We have this hate relationship with the detailing industry and the car wash industry. But guess who is buying all the Lambos and the Ferraris? It's guys that own car washes. So,
Are mopping up. Those dudes are mopping up. It's been such a crazy growth segment. It's crazy.
yeah, that's awesome.
It is. It's crazy stuff, but it's exciting. I love to have a hand still in the industry.
Yep.
And still, and you know, we're going to have our school here too, the Shine Academy. We're going to operate here too. And for us, we're big on foster care. So foster kids is a big thing for us, and all the kids that don't have parents, and parents, you know, ended up in jail or in bad situations. So we're taking foster kids as our number one group. They're about getting ready to time out of foster care. People, you have to, okay, good luck. You just had a horrible childhood. Go to work. Like, really? You go pay rent?
That's awesome.
So we're taking those kids in, and then we're also taking in vets, taking in veterans, people that come back from being deployed. They're a little bit spun out. They're just having a tough time assimilating into normal kind of life. And man, you get a lot of therapy in the detail bay. You can sit there and really kind of zone out and get some chill time. So we're taking those two groups in, and we're building a business based on helping those two groups mainly at the old car wash. It's gonna be called Enzo's.
That's your nice. That's your son's name, right?
That is our son's name too. Yeah, but it's also nice. You know, automotive. In our store, we're gonna have a panini, espresso, and gelato. So we're gonna have a couple of things there for you to do while you're waiting for your car to get clean.
Well, Idaho's not that far away from me, so I need to. Hopefully, I can run over there and take a look.
It's been a minute, right? Last time we were in Colorado hanging out.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while. I've tried to see you at SEMA, and we couldn't connect, and it's just, you know, busy people, busy guys. I want to be respectful of your time. Thank you so much for coming. If people want to kind of see what you got going on and find you and reach out or whatever, how would they do that?
Heck, shoot me. I mean, you can find me. I'm just Adam Pitale, you know, Facebook, or I don't spend too much time on Instagram. I've been I had a problem with spending too much time on that. So
that's probably good to not.
Yeah. LinkedIn, Facebook, and then my email is adam@adamspolishes.com. If you want to reach out and say hello or ask any questions, you know, I'd be happy to help anybody who has any desire at all to connect or communicate. I'd be happy if I can be of assistance, if I can shed any help on you or your business, then I'd be honored.
Awesome, Adam. I appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for having me, buddy. So good to see you.
Head over to detailersroadmap.com and get your one-stop success solution today.